Okay, Ace, thank you for having us, even though it's quite sudden that I DM you a couple of days ago.
No, I mean, thank you. Actually, my days here are not super packed, so I enjoy getting to meet people and talk to them and everything.
So, how's life in Thailand?
Life in Thailand is very different than what I'm used to. I am now living in Asia for the first time in my life. I mean, I've spent a lot of time here visiting in Indonesia and all of that, and also, I mean, I'm part Chinese, so I'm used to the culture, but I've been living in North America and Europe the whole time. I mean, it's very hot.
Okay.
So getting used to it, getting used to being sweaty all the time, but no, enjoying it so far. It's a big adventure.
So, previously, of course, you follow your husband, Sandy, and he used to play for Yokohama F. Marinos.
Yeah.
So you live in Japan for a couple of months.
Yeah, we were in Japan for almost exactly 6 months.
Yeah. So do you need time to adapt from Japanese lifestyle to Thailand lifestyle?
Not so much, but I think also having been a basketball player where I move every single year to a new country. I've lived in, I think now it's 7 countries in my life, that I'm kind of used to it. I think for Sandy even, it was more difficult for him to get used to it. He was like, oh my God, we're moving, we're doing all this. And I was just like, yeah, this is kind of normal.
Also, you're
Yeah.
the one that feel more comfortable moving.
Yeah, for
countries
sure.
to countries.
I know how to move a house in like a small amount of period. I know how to pack everything. I know how to get it out of there. So he was much more stressed than I was actually.
Okay. Okay. You were part of Canadian women's basketball national team, and you've played in like international biggest stage like FIBA World Cup, and also I think did you play in Olympics as well?
No, that's a sore spot for me.
Okay.
That's a sore spot for me. It was, that's the only thing that I didn't actually get to do. I was cut from 2 teams. And there are varied opinions on that one. But
Even the qualifiers, did you play?
I did all the qualifiers, I did everything. I was a part of the team all the way up until the very last cut.
So we just want to know how are the scene of women's basketball back in Canada?
In Canada in general, we actually don't have a professional league. Like Indonesia, you guys have you have
Yeah.
school. So there are semi-pro leagues starting to pop up around and it's growing. Our national team is very well supported. I think the Canadian population is very, very supportive of the women's basketball team. We have a very good body of work and history of like success. We're still, I mean, ironing out the kinks and everything, but I think in Canada, they love basketball. I hope that it continues to grow and that the women's side of the sport gets more and more interest, more and more investment, because we now have, I would say people call it a semi-pro league for the men, but it's getting to the point where it's almost fully pro, at least a summer league. So if we could have something like that for the women too, I think that would be an amazing opportunity.
But a lot of Canadians also plays in WNBA.
Yes, we have
Okay.
a good number of Canadians in the WNBA in and out of the league because it's short contracts sometimes, similar to how I was when I was with the Mystics. They'll get signed for a small amount period and then be cut. But we have a couple who are staples on teams who've been there for a while, which it's kind of crazy because you have this big league right across the border, but then we have so many Canadian female athletes specifically, because I can't speak to the men as much, who play overseas in Europe and even in Asia and all over the place, but don't have a league closer to home. So that's kind of the one gap that we probably have right now.
Yeah, that what made me curious. I mean, we are similar, Indonesia and Canada.
Yeah.
We don't have professional leagues. So
I know, and your guys' national team is so talented. They're
Yeah.
winning everything right now.
Yeah. So, how do you keep growing and keep your skills so they don't disappear because you don't have the league?
Well, the reality is our only option is to play other places. And that means, everybody who plays on the Canadian national team, even the ones who play in the WNBA, typically all go over and play in Europe.
Okay.
Because the WNBA season is about 5 months long. So in the rest of the like 7 months that you need to make some money and like take care of yourself, you go to Europe and you play over there. And I think it's quite far for Canadians to do that, but since there's no other option, they really push themselves. And I think if we compare it to Indonesia a little bit, I think that's also maybe an opportunity that Indonesian female basketball players maybe can explore as well, because I know that it's not as there's also big cultural differences. It's everybody, family is very important here. Being close to home is very important. The culture is very different, but I think when there's no other option, you have to find a way.
Yeah, that's the difference between Canada and Indonesia, because the women players in Indonesia, they don't go to another country to play, so they only rely on national team program.
Yeah.
So if you are the coach of Indonesia, do you encourage the women's players to play abroad?
I think if I was in that unique position, it's a little bit difficult. As somebody who comes from outside of the Indonesian culture, it's kind of difficult for me to say what they should do, because there's a lot of choices that go into it. It would be really easy for me to say, hey, yeah, go. If we're talking about basketball, the only way to get better is to push ourselves and to play against new people. It's like if you play against the same people over and over again, you're never going to be forced to learn anything new. So in terms of your basketball career and trying to do it, it's very important to find new challenges. But also I understand that there's a lot more to life than just basketball, so it's really hard to be like, okay, drop everything, go to play. And also in Asia, the leagues are a little bit more difficult, and trying to convince them, go across the world to a place that's completely different, where everything is going to be a culture shock to you, and then try and be successful, it's a little bit difficult also. So I think maybe it would be good to go and do stints where you go and train, or maybe take the team and go and play friendly games against professional teams. Since there is no league, you have a little bit more flexibility. You can be like, okay, we're going to take 2 months and we're going to travel around Europe and we're going to play against teams. And I think that might be a more of a compromise that works for what are important to people.
And you've mentioned that you also played outside Canada. So if Indonesians wants to play outside Indonesia, what's the difficulties that you face when you play in another country?
Yeah, I think the experience is different for everybody. The easiest and most one that comes to my head first is the food. The food is very, very different. Even coming from Canada and then playing in the US during university, I went from the west coast of North America to the east coast of North America, and even that, the food was very, very different, and it's fairly similar in terms of that, but the food is different. The language barrier can be difficult, but I think if you approach it with an adventurous mind and understand that things are going to be different, you're going to have some challenges, but you have a really beautiful opportunity to explore something new. And maybe it isn't the most fun all the time, but if you approach it with that mindset, it becomes a lot more enjoyable. All of the people I've played with that have had their best experiences, who've had careers that they've really, really enjoyed, are people who are very, very curious and are open to trying new things.
If you're still playing, do you prefer having a professional league in your own country, or you just play outside?
Well,
for the players' growth.
Yeah, for the players' growth. I think to start, it's always good to have the opportunity to play at home when people are comfortable, when they are well rested, and all of these things. It gives them an opportunity to be their best selves. But that comes at a limit, because then you're limited to the people who are around you. And after you reach a certain point, you can't improve yourself any further with the same type of competition. So if you then go out and try new places, that is where you can find what goes beyond your limit at home. So I think I think the opportunity to be able to play at home is important. I think you need to have a grassroots program foundation for people to explore what it is to be a professional athlete in the safest environment possible. And then once they've built that confidence and built their skills, then to go and see what else the world has to offer.
You come to Indonesia several times, and I think you also held like several training camps with young players from Indonesia as well. So what do you think about Indonesian young talents?
From my experience, because I've done it from all different age groups,
Yeah.
actually all around the Jakarta, in different areas of Jakarta. I went out to Tangerang, I was all over the place. I think there is a lot of passion for it and there is a lot of potential. I've also ran camps with some of the university players. So like, for example, the last camp I did, Safira was there with me and some of her teammates. And, you know, they were very skilled. They have lots of potential. They're talented and also very eager to learn. I find that when I run the camps, even when things are difficult, when exercises maybe push people just a little bit beyond what they're comfortable doing, they never give up, which is something that is really refreshing, because sometimes you run a camp and you can see people are losing interest. But I find that there's such a hunger and passion for it, and to get better and to play and to see where it goes, that it makes it really, really enjoyable. And I think there's a lot of potential here.
What becomes the disadvantage for Indonesian players are their size.
Yeah.
When they're facing like China and then other Asian countries,
Yeah.
it's always the size. So do you think that in basketball, size is always important?
That's okay. The easy answer is there is a difference. The real answer is it is what you make it. I've played with players from Brazil, from Canada, from France, who were 5'3".
Okay.
So, and it's, that's really bad. I don't know what it is in centimeters actually off the top of my head. That's a bit, but you know, like a good this much smaller than me.
Yeah, yeah.
And they were playing in the same leagues as me. They were playing in Spain, they were playing in France, they're on national teams. And then I guess the easiest example of it all is if you look up Muggsy Bogues.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. I mean, if you look up Muggsy Bogues, you know that like he was going up against like 7-footers and he is tiny. So I think the only thing that really limits us truly is our willingness to overcome. Yeah.
So you face sometimes you face difficulties when you up against players that are shorter than you.
Yeah, I mean, the most taller players are easy to handle.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because the reality of it is they don't move as fast.
Okay.
So you can get into their body, you can take advantage of the fact that they have so much size to cover. Small players are the most annoying players on defense. They're the ones that like you're playing defense and suddenly they're like past you and you have to like look at the bench and be like, I don't know what just happened. So I think there's also like pretty good advantages to that type of size difference as well.
One last, this is not a question about basketball, is Indonesia will face Southeast Asian Games a couple of months forward. Do you have like any messages for, especially for the women's basketball, because they I think will defend the gold medal in Southeast Asian?
Yeah, I mean, I really enjoy following it all. I think it's so amazing to see all of the success, and especially because it's the women's team, because I feel like there's so much hype and excitement around Timnas, and obviously you have the match coming up this evening and all of this. And so I know that the Indonesian people are very, very proud and love sports, and they want to support. So to see some of that support go towards the women in basketball, and I'm a little bit biased, I love basketball, to go and to see that would be absolutely amazing. I think they deserve it. They deserve just as much love. They win more. So they get more medals. So I think if they need to keep doing what they're doing a fantastic job. I'm a big fan, and I hope that everybody else will also be big fans and support them in this, because I don't think they need any advice from me, but what they do need is people to cheer for them and keep them going, because that's the best part of being an athlete, is going into a stadium and hearing your people sing your anthem, hearing them cheer for you, and being a part of the energy that is sports. So I think my message isn't for the team, my message is for the fans. Bring everybody you know and go and cheer them on because they deserve it.
Okay, so now it's a football question.
Okay, hit me with them.
You're a wife of Sandy Walsh, of
Yeah.
course, and he's a football national team star in Indonesia.
Mm-hmm.
So how's life as a wife of a national team superstar?
Honestly, I get jealous because being an athlete, and he has all of the support, the fame, he gets the shoes, he gets all of that, and I'm his biggest supporter. I love him to death. I cheer his name from the rooftops. But as an athlete, I'm like, oh my goodness, I wish it was like this for me. But in terms of like our everyday life, it's not that different. Like, I would say, okay, we work really well because I understand what it takes to be a very good athlete and all of the things that he has to sacrifice to be where he is and do what he does. So that helps us with our relationship. But our everyday life, I would say, is not that different from what a normal couple would be like. You know, I make dinner in the evening, he folds the laundry, and we get in fights every once in a while. So, you know, it's not anything too crazy, I would say.
So, you know how passionate our fans back in Indonesia about football.
Yeah.
So, how do you handle the situation when, you know, there are fans going like a little bit overboard that may be disturbing your privacy and Sundays as well? So, how do you handle that kind of situation?
Well, I think part of the job of being an athlete is being available to people. And I know that he is very, very grateful for all of the support he gets. So that also gives you a good level of patience. He is the first one. I'm like always like, hey, we're like about to miss our flight. You need to like tell them we have to go. And he's like, yes, but what if this is the only time they ever see me? What if they drove hours to be here? I need to give them my time. And you know, I also completely understand, like, the fans are probably the biggest part of the sport outside of actually being on the field. And it's important to give them some love and spend some time. And for the most part, I will say that the Indonesian people are lovely. They are respectful, they're kind, they get very, very excited, and that's okay. And, you know, it's typically a pleasure to be around them and to be in that atmosphere. Although it does make it difficult when he's here to focus on the match. He has to hide in the in the hotel just so that he can focus and be prepared. But when he has the free time, he really enjoys being around people.
When Sandy's fans know that you are also an athlete, is there any difference between before the people know that you are an athlete and then after they discovered that, oh, Sandy's wife is actually a basketball player? Is there any different?
I think they think I'm cooler now.
Okay.
I mean, I think there are people who really enjoy it. I get questions a lot about whether or not I'm still playing and everything, and there's for sure interest in it. And also I do the camps here, and I go and I do like some interviews and go and play against some people on YouTube and stuff. So I think they find it really interesting. It gives them something fun about me to know and do. But, you know, I wouldn't say it's necessarily different. The love that they give, I think, truly is because they love Timnas, and I'm lucky enough to be married to one of them. So I, like, for example, when national team is here, I get recognized all the time. People ask for photos. They're so excited. They're not here. They're in Saudi. I'm living my best life in Jakarta. Nobody has come up to me. Nobody has asked me for, nobody really recognizes me or asks me for photos. I think also part of it is maybe they all expecting you to be in Saudi. But yeah, and then I get to I can go out, I can go shopping, I can walk around town, and I kind of like that as well.
A random question from me.
Yeah.
International football player, sometimes their wives and their partners like having a group chat.
Yeah.
Do you and other player's wife have a group chat as well?
Not really actually, because there's a couple of, there's like, for example, Sandy plays with Shane
Yep.
in Buriram, so me and Mina, we text, and when we don't have a group chat, but when we show up, those of us who are close together will message each other and be like, oh, we're going here, would you like to come? But I wouldn't say it's a group chat, although maybe there is, and that just means I'm not in it, which I'm okay with. I'm terrible with group chats. I'm like the last person to message. I like silence them all, so maybe there is one and I'm just not a part of it, but as far as I know, no.
Okay. Okay. Our last is, do you have anything to say to the fans and also to Sandy that, well, we as nation are chasing the dream to be in the World Cup? So do you have any message?
Yeah, I think, and this message is like, I think we all know it in our hearts too, that the body of work and the effort that the team has put into getting to this point is amazing. I think if you would have said 2 years ago we were going to be in this situation where we were fighting for a spot in World Cup, where it was just there, like you could see it in the future, a lot of people would have laughed at you and said, no way, like you'd keep dreaming, we're still so far. So I think no matter what happens going into this, that whatever the result is, we can be very, very proud of all of the effort and all of the successes that we have had to bring us here, and we can, cheer and hope for the best and be ready to celebrate in Jakarta, because I know that if they win, they're all going to come here. It's going to be a huge celebration. I can't imagine how busy it's going to be, but and I think the Indonesian people know this also, because they're always like, no matter what, and we celebrate everything that has brought us here too, because we're all very, very proud of them.